Who remembers the BJ and Bill show all those years ago on WOLZ? Well, many have said they missed the show, and guess what? They're back. Welcome to the BJ and Bill podcast.
Welcome to BJ and Bill, the podcast, a part of the Podcast Playground Network. And please give us that 5-star review, subscribe, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your favorite podcast, which is this one right here. Also, follow us on Facebook, BJ and Bill, the podcast. And, of course, you can email us, BJ and Bill, the podcast, at gmail.com. And welcome to 111.
Really, 111. A magical number if ever there was one. Good for you. Good for us. Good for our listeners.
Yeah, 111 of these things.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. We were just talking before we started recording about our various health issues and how we're all being kept alive and still around and still alive and kicking, as the old song goes. So that's good. That's a good thing. How you doing?
And another fun trip to the ER on Friday night.
What's up with that?
I'm an AFib, and if it gets too high, then they get worried. And you know me, I always like to go to Tampa General Hospital no matter what.
Well, sure. You got those frequent flyer points.
If I stub my big toe and I need to go to the doctor or go to the hospital,
you're going to Tampa General.
I'm going to Tampa General Hospital.
Because they know you. You're like royalty there.
Well, the last few weeks we've had all these hurricanes.
You think?
And so I was hesitant to go in. I've talked to them. They told me other things to try. And finally, Friday night it wasn't working and it was like really off the chain. And so if AFib can be off the chain, I was off the chain, man.
Wow. Woo.
But I called and they says, yeah, you really probably should go to the ER. I go, okay, it'll be about 2 hours and I'll be there. Oh, I don't know if I would do that. The roads are still pretty wild and there's no gas here. Of course, I didn't need gas. I had electric.
Right, but yeah.
There's no gas here. So I would just go to my local ER. I'm going, oh my God.
Yeah, but they don't know you. How does that work?
I know. I don't want to go to some, and Claremont is not a little town, but it's a lot. It's okay. It's a little town. So I'm going, oh my God, I'm going to go to the Claremont Hospital. I might not come out alive.
Where they don't know you. Yeah. Have you been there before?
Well, I've been to, my doctor is actually at Orlando Health.
Okay.
Which is, basically they have a big hospital in Orlando. Then they have a bunch of little satellite hospitals.
Sure.
And Claremont is one of the little satellite hospitals. But as a professional patient,
which you are,
I went into the local ER and coming out going, damn, if I ever needed an ER and had to get to the hospital quickly, I think I would trust these people.
So 5-star rating for the local ER.
Yeah, okay. Had a great doctor.
Good.
Had a nurse that put in an IV that I hardly even felt it go in.
Sweet.
Had another nurse that came in and checked on me. The facilities look pretty much brand new. I ain't complaining.
Good. Glad to hear it. My
AFib this morning is pretty much under control today. Now, it didn't flare up again Sunday, but I don't know if that's from football or politics or what. But as of right now, today, we do this on Monday.
Yes.
The AFib has been gone for, the entire morning.
Well, good to know. Good to know that you won't be keeling over right in the middle of the show while we're talking. So, yeah.
I'm not promising that.
Okay.
Don't make me make any promises I might not be able to keep.
Okay, I understand. We'll keep our fingers crossed here. That's good. Wow. All right, BJ Odom. Well, you hang in there. Keep doing what you're doing. Whatever you're doing has apparently worked for you for all these 100 years. So keep doing it. That's fine. Where to start? Lots to talk about today. Well, lots to talk. I mean, we made it through another storm.
Oh my goodness. I'm just getting so tired. And then there's like it's way, way out there. And most of the procrastinators or weather people or whatever you in the hell you want to call them, they said, this shouldn't affect us. Shouldn't.
Really? They were
What?
telling you that? You looked like you were right under the line of the
No,
cone
no,
there.
no, no, no. I'm talking about the one that's way out there.
Oh, there's another one?
Oh, yes.
I am not even paying attention. I am honest to God, I'm over it. Kind of like the Cleveland Browns. I'm over them.
I think I'm over to college football.
Oh, no, you're not. But anyway, all right, let's finish the hurricane thing. And then, so really, there's another. All right, now you're going to make me go to Google while we're talking,
like,
which you make me do all the time.
It's like way out there.
The Hurricane Center.
And then some idiot, and then it got started on Facebook, and it went around like crazy. Right after this one, they said, oh, there's another one, and here's like and it was like, what was the one before the last one we had? There's so many I can't keep track.
The Helene, Milton, Helene.
It was the exact same track as Helene. And then come to find out somebody did some playing around, and it was the same one as Helene. It was that exact picture. Only they make it look like it was a new storm coming. So that was circulating and everyone was freaking out, and it wasn't even real. It was, manipulated. Well, as they say, misinformation.
Right. Well, you are correct. There is another one out there, but it's literally just a little disturbance at this point. And it's just, I'm not going to say just off the coast of Africa, but it's well off the coast of Africa. Of course, they all come in this direction. We know. Yeah, for sure. But all right. I mean, I can't. That's too far off to worry about. You're right.
And like I said, the prognosticators have prognosticate that they don't think this should be any problems to the U.S., but still, they will keep us informed.
Tell it to the good people of Southwest Florida from Tampa on south. Yeah. I'm happy to report, super happy to report that the last storm, Milton, the one I think really slammed where I used to live in Sarasota and Venice, nothing here in Gainesville, nothing. So thank you, weather gods, for taking care of us this time around. I mean, I know everybody, I know. So many people were not nearly so lucky, especially, again, the old neighborhood where I lived in Sarasota was right there. That's right where it came ashore, pretty much at Siesta Key, down south. And wow, I had lots and lots of clients, computer clients, back when I was a computer geek. And I can remember some gorgeous homes and condos on the beach at Siesta Key, which is a super high-end neighborhood anyway. And I pray for my friends there, my old clients and stuff, to hope they got through it okay. We'll see.
Well, as we record this on a Monday, the 14th of October.
Yes.
My son just got electric back yesterday.
After being out since what? Wednesday, Thursday?
Yeah, and he got knocked out early.
I was talking there. Was he out Wednesday night or Thursday?
Wednesday. And he got, he got knocked out before the storm even got here.
Wow.
That's because he had a little twister in his backyard. It was just like, the Wizard of Oz where the house gets lifted. Well, it was, thank God, his tin shed in the backyard and not his house.
Right.
But it got lifted over a 6-foot fence over to the neighbor's yard right next to his pool cage. Thank God didn't go through, no damage there. But my son went over there with a saw and sawed it down and chopped it down and, brought it back over to his property. And of course, it was his yard was full of stuff from the shed that went flying everywhere in his backyard.
Wow.
And the story, if you want to hear the whole story, I'm an old man that worries every now and again.
A little bit.
So I tried to get a hold of my son. He usually gets back to me pretty quick.
Right.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yes, And then, so I try to, get a hold of my wife tries to get a hold of his wife or his better half or whatever.
Right.
Just crickets.
Nothing. Yeah.
So I said, okay, let me get a hold of the granddaughter. So I text the granddaughter. And teenagers.
Good with texting.
Oh, they have their phone and they are just boom, boom, boom. It's right back. Nothing.
Nothing.
I'm watching WBBH, which is the TV station down in Fort Myers.
Our old friends at Channel 20.
Tornadoes have touched down in Fort Myers. One was seen right around the bell tower, which is not too far from my son.
Or my ex-wife. Yep. Where I used to live as well. Yep.
So I go into panic mode.
Mm.
There's probably where my AFib may have came from.
Mm.
Panic mode was high. And finally he texted me back saying, well, I had to go to the neighbors and retrieve what little I could. You know, he cut it. Like I said, he took a saw over there and cut it up and then stacked it and put blocks on it. And about all he could do before the storm actually hit. And the girls were out in the backyard picking up stuff, which was all over the yard.
Wow.
And also the granddaughter's trampoline went flying up in the air into the woods, and it was mangled and completely ruined.
No kidding. Wow. 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 But all the humans are okay.
Yeah, all the humans were okay. The house was okay.
Good.
The studio was okay.
Okay.
So all was good there. But, and you know, he didn't see it. So he doesn't know if it was a twister. But I'm thinking if you pick a 10, even if it's a 10 shed, they're not light. Yeah. If it goes over an 8-foot fence, I'm thinking it might have been a twister.
Probably so. Probably so.
But like I said, the house, of course, he had branches and stuff in the back too that he had to clean up.
And I did talk to my ex again, and because she lives right near in that old neighborhood, and I forget the name of it. I'm sorry now at the moment because it's only been 25 years since I've been there. But right at College Parkway and 41, right like just north of the bell tower there on the same side. And I said, yeah, you know, BJ's son Gentry had a tornado. She said, yeah, I heard there were a few around. She said, but not here, thankfully. And I'm like, okay, so how you doing? And she had the usual branches down, but this storm, the storm itself, not such a big deal. The storm must have either made a weird turn, and I didn't follow it as closely as the previous one, as Helene, which was weird because it was more of the one coming this way. It must have like come apart or slowed down quickly or something, because I mean, after it slammed into the beach at Siesta, I didn't hear a whole heck of a lot more. Although you said you had some stuff going on there in Claremont.
We have trees in our neighborhood that are somewhat new trees, you know, because they're pretty well, you know, the neighborhood's only been around maybe 3-4 years at the most. A lot of trees that are basically, they said they're going to have to replant because they're like leaning more than sideways.
They just pushed them over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so
usually what happens in my neighborhood, because I go for my walk a couple, 3 times a week or ride my bike or something, and you'll see a stack of old, one tree that came down in every couple, 3 houses will have one big tree. And you can tell by looking at it that like it's hollow in the middle, because obviously it was an old tree rotting out. That was the one that was going to come down. So I guess nature just doing its job of natural pruning around the neighborhood, a lot of pruning. So,
now, what's really weird too at this storm, you know, like you said, it hit on the West Coast.
Yeah.
But the East Coast got all the tornadoes, it seemed like, too. You know, I mean, I guess there's a few in Fort Myers and some other places.
No, I saw that.
But over like in Vero and places like that, it just got Fort Pierce got demolished with tornadoes.
Very weird. It was very weird. So I guess, Mother Nature needed to try some new stuff on us. She's like, all right, you had the last one last week, but here, we got a new game plan for this one. Tornadoes. Ah! Yeah. All right. So whatever. God bless everybody who was affected by that. Big gratitude from yours truly, who was not affected, but if you were, we'll pray for you. And we'll contribute to the Red Cross, which I've already done. The NFL does a good job of running their little, can you help kind of thing. And I usually add a few dollars to the kitty that way. So anyway, that's it.
So does NASCAR.
Good for them.
That was a good race yesterday, but
there was a race yesterday.
The Bucs started. Let's just get into sports here now.
Let's get into sports. That's a lot more fun and interesting than tornadoes. Yes.
So the Bucs started.
Yes, you and I were texting.
A house of fire.
You and I were texting.
And I'm going, oh man, this is a beautiful sight.
Yes,
and then I think I went and got a glass of water, and I came back, and the 17-point lead was Done. It was over.
Evaporated.
I go, what the hell? I even text you that, because I have this thing and I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt on the last game, even though they lost. But I said, it was bad officiating the last 2 minutes of the game.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm going. It's my story and I'm sticking to it.
Okay. All right.
So I go, if they can win today,
right,
or which was Sunday, I'm going to buy that Baker Mayfield jersey.
You've been talking about it for weeks now, and I've been looking forward to holding you to it.
The second when I saw them, like after they had that 17-point lead, and it just went away like a snap of a finger, I said, I am done with Baker. There is no way in hell I'm going to buy a Baker Mayfield jersey.
And now you know exactly how.
Bitch.
And now you know exactly how us Cleveland Browns felt for years. I love him. I hate him. I love him. I'm done with him.
I'm just like, oh. So then, I finally, I think I even texted you. Okay, NASCAR race is starting.
You did.
I go, they're getting the big screen. I've got my little iPad over here to my right on my, the arm of my chair.
Right.
That's where the Buccaneers are going.
They've been relegated to the iPad.
And I'm watching the game every now and again, looking, whoa,
what?
And man, I don't know what the hell happened. Would they have 51 points at the end of the game?
Something like that.
So guess what I have coming in the mail?
Really?
A Baker Mayfield jersey has been ordered and hopefully will arrive within the next week. Hopefully on the podcast, you'll see me in a
I was going to say, we will need to see proof positive. And of course, I mean, we don't do this as a video podcast, but you'll be posting pictures to the BJ and Bill podcast Facebook group. So we will be able to see with our own eyes that you have been faithful to Baker Mayfield.
Yep.
That's all we ask.
He'd better appreciate it.
I'm sure he does. Because
Because
I know he gets a piece of that.
And as much as it cost, he should get a nice little chunk of change.
Well, yeah, they got to pay that $25 million contract. I know whatever he's making. It's a nice number. It's not, it's not Deshaun Watson sized. We'll get to that in a minute. But it's not Trevor Lawrence sized. We'll get to that.
Yeah, okay, your teams have really been sucking here lately.
Oh my God. So anyway, the Buccaneers, I don't know what it was. Now, again, I don't know that you can take too much. I mean, hanging 50 on somebody. I texted you, I think in the fourth quarter, it's like, boy, I wish I would have taken the over, whatever it was, because I'm sure they doubled it and tripled it. But I mean, New Orleans rookie quarterback. I never heard of this kid, Rattler. What a name for a quarterback, Rattler. He should have played for the Arizona Rattlers back when they were the indoor football league. That would have been awesome, Rattler for the Rattlers. So he was brand new. He was good. He was sharp. A little bit, lots to learn, but okay. And then, it was an interest. I thought it was an interesting and fun game, so I enjoyed it. What else can I say? So there you go. I know, caused you heart troubles. I'm sorry, but it's just.
Yeah, because my AFib was up again yesterday afternoon.
I bet it was. But now, wait a minute. It could have been the NASCAR race too, right? I mean.
It wasn't that exciting. The Xfinity race on Saturday was much more exciting than the race on Sunday, but it was still a good race.
Okay.
It was so good.
I was playing pickleball.
It was so good. I can't remember who won.
Oh, damn. I was playing pickleball with my senior citizens group last night, and we were comparing our football stories, from our hometowns and everything, because everybody's, in Florida, everybody's from everywhere else pretty much. And I was like, oh, and those Cleveland Browns, and somebody said, you're from Cleveland. I said, they're dead to me. And that brought the house down. That got a good laugh. So, I mean, the funny thing to me, and I want to hear more about that. I'll watch the sports podcasts and all that today. The fact that they only lost to Philadelphia by 6, I think it was 16-10 was the final or something, that the Philadelphia fans were actually booing their own team for not running it up more, for not scoring more on Cleveland, which to me is hilarious. And I don't know, that coach Sirianni in Philadelphia, his days are numbered. And so anyway, lots going on in sports. Yes, as you said, Jacksonville to Chicago in London. They're staying in London. I have this feeling like the good people of Jacksonville might say, why don't you just stay there forever? That's fine. You know,
Well, I wonder if the coach will come back and have a job. It didn't work out too good for the Jets.
I heard, and here's to switch gears only slightly to college football. I'm hearing rumors. I'm watching the Twitterverse, whatever you call it now on X. The sports people on X are like, the Ohio State coach is on the line. You lose a close one like that. I mean, it was the number 2 team versus the number 3 team. They still lost. Slight upset to Oregon over the weekend. And it's like, your job is on the line? Are you kidding me? So anyway, that might have just been somebody trying to stir the pot a little bit. I don't know. But yeah, it's crunch time for a lot of teams out there.
I don't know. I only really follow 2 teams in college football. And I've already lost interest in
the Boilermakers,
and the Gators, and I've already lost interest. I don't think I watched a little bit of the Gators game.
Oh yeah, the Gators. I watched the whole thing. If you watched the first half, you were like, hey, we got a chance against Tennessee, a ranked team. Yeah, no, you don't have a chance. No. You're in Tennessee. You got no chance. And they didn't. So there's another guy whose job is probably going to be the subject of conversation here in Gainesville over the week. You know, Billy Napier. So anyway, lots going on. Lots. I saw a great, again, Twitter is my thing now. I'm pretty much done with Facebook. I'm X now, or Twitter or whatever. Somebody posted on like Friday night all the big college games. You know, Texas, Oklahoma, you know, blah 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 blah. And somebody just wrote, if your girlfriend scheduled your wedding for Saturday, you are what's wrong with America.
Oh, my girlfriend could put a wedding together, and I would show up on a Saturday.
Oh, you would you? Good for you.
Sunday, if the Bucks were playing, maybe not.
That's that. What is that? Is that an Allstate TV commercial with Mayhem? I think you scheduling your wedding for the big football game is the worst.
Yeah.
I like that guy. All right, boy, we are just so much to cover here. So much.
I have one last story for you from.
I'm listening, please. I feel like I've been talking this whole time.
You know, I know you're not a fan. Well, maybe you're a fan, but you're not a fan of the cameras showing her.
Oh,
Taylor Swift.
Tell me more. I managed to miss her this weekend. Did they even play this weekend? Kansas City.
Yeah, they played. I think they played Thursday. Was it Monday night?
Oh, wait, Thursday they might have. Yeah, you're right. You might be right. I was wondering why I had missed her. But anyway, Taylor Swift. No, I'm not a fan of them showing her. I know that they have to. It's good for ratings. I understand the marketing piece of it.
Not only, Bill Stevens, is it good for ratings?
Yes.
But Kansas City small business thanks Taylor Swift for the economic boom, and she has changed our lives. That's the headline in Small Business, or whatever that is, Small Business Magazine or whatever.
And can you tell us more about that, or are you just quoting a headline here?
That's a headline. Well, let me see here. I've got it.
I can't imagine. Well, I could imagine, but how does
I don't know. Now,
Taylor Swift help?
I have this on my iPad, and it's not looking good.
Because I mean, the games are going to sell out no matter what. You know, when there's a game in town, it's going to be full, and there's going to be a lot of people in town. I get that. How does she help on other stuff? I don't get it.
I don't know. Just as locals are really, surprised at, the way that they're making money. Pride, merchandise flying off the shelf, changing lives in small business owners.
Well, good for them. Good for them.
Vice President.
I mean, again, I don't dislike her. I don't care that she's Travis Kelce's girlfriend or whatever. I don't care. I just don't need to have it in my face constantly. And thankfully, I don't remember watching any Kansas City football lately, so I've been avoiding it.
Yes, well, she missed 2 games there, I think, for a while.
Well, when you're
She
on
was getting
tour
so much
around the
flack
world,
and
those
everything
things
else.
happen.
And now she's back at the games. But I don't know if
Right.
she went to Monday night's game or not, because like
Right.
you, I did not watch.
Right. She's, I'm sure Travis Kelce has a pretty nice hefty contract with the Kansas City Chiefs. She makes that in a week. Really? I mean,
I know it's sad that you're a big football player and you make millions of dollars, but your girlfriend still makes more.
Tom Brady was like that. Tom Brady in his heyday with Tampa Bay making $50 million a year didn't come close to his then wife, Giselle Bundchen, or whatever she is, international model and superstar. And she made way more money than he did, which I think, I don't think I've seen those numbers. It's crazy, just crazy. But of course, that's the exception, not the rule.
I'm going to give Taylor Swift a little bit more love today on the show.
All right. I'm sure she'll appreciate it when she listens to
donated
the show.
$5 million to hurricane relief.
Thank you.
That's with an M. $5 million.
Very nice.
I've never had $5 million to donate.
I've never had $5 million
any
to
cause.
No. Well, good for her. I will give you props for that, Taylor Swift. So when you listen to this podcast, this is me saying a sincere thank you.
Thank you.
I know she listens.
Yeah, I think. Well, I can. All I got to do is look up. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming to the Paisley show, because she opened for Brad Paisley years ago.
Right.
It was great. I want to really say that. It was great seeing you. And thank you so much for your support, Taylor.
Taylor Swift. He has an autographed Taylor Swift picture in his office.
It's not well, yeah, I have an autographed picture, yes. But I also have a thank you note that came in the mail that is thanking me.
Oh, I see. I thought it was on the picture. I thought it was
no,
it came as a note in the mail.
This is a thank you note.
Wow.
Now that's when she was just an opener for Brad Paisley.
Of course.
But and I wasn't even excited. I was out because, us radio guys, we were out at the van as people were coming in. It was raining that day. I looked disgusting all the time, but I looked extra
disgusting.
And all of a sudden the record promoter, for Taylor's label comes up and says, "Hey, BJ, let's go backstage. Taylor wants to meet you." Like, she even knew who in the hell I was. She said to that guy, "Hey, that BJ Odom guy? I've heard a lot about him.
Right.
I want to meet him." No way in hell did she say that. But, he was being nice. She wants to meet you.
One way or another, either through her management company or her assistants or her whatever, she does do a great job of exactly that, of promotion and marketing and high touch, high tech, all of that stuff kind of thing. So good for her. That's fine. I get it.
So I said, "Can I run go get my daughter?" Because it was getting close to showtime.
Right.
And she was the first act.
Right.
And the guy said, "Yeah, if you can find her real quick." So I knew where they were sitting. So I ran in, grabbed my daughter real quick, says, "Come on, if you want to meet Taylor." And she was still she was pretty young herself. My daughter was still, into the stardom, and she was a Taylor Swift fan. Sure. I got some brownie points there. And so I got a picture of my daughter and Taylor, picture of me and Taylor.
You were a Swiftie before a Swiftie was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's because she was in country back then. And I was a big country guy.
Right.
So
what did that ever change officially, or did she just kind of morphed into just being a regular full-on pop
she's
music
a pop
superstar
star now. Yeah, she's pop now. All the way pop.
Of course.
You'll still hear her on country radio with some of her older songs, when she first started. But everything, after she, a lot of people in a career will flip back and forth, kind of maybe do a pop song, then still do something that the country, I don't know. I think country radio is really weird in a way.
Now,
Because they're very if you leave country radio, they kind of get an edge on them and go, well, you left us.
You're like the mafia. You're dead to us.
Yeah, you left us, so let's just forget about you.
Right, right.
So really, she's not even had any real crossovers or anything for her. They
I think
like
she's doing okay without him.
I know.
She's doing just fine by herself. Whatever she's doing is fine.
Just keep doing it, Taylor. I'm a country boy, but I still like your music.
I understand. All right. I also understand we are about halfway through. Look at that. Time flies. Holy cow. All right. Go refill your coffee or if you're BJ Odom, take another pill, but do what you need to do.
And we're going to talk about one of your favorite subjects, I think, coming up next.
Whoa, I can hardly wait. All right, folks. You heard it here first, and we will be right back. Welcome back. This is BJ and Bill, the podcast. I'm Bill Stevens. BJ Odom is there in exciting Claremont, Florida, where he survived the storm. Actually, we both survived the storm, so blessings to that. But we're back for another exciting half hour of the podcast. If you would like to find us on social media, surf over to Facebook and do a search for BJ and Bill Podcast, and you will find us. And you can also email the show at bjandbillpodcast@gmail.com. There you go. So before the break, BJ Odom promising to talk about something, one of my favorite subjects, favorite topics. I forget how he said it, but I'm curious to hear more. Go for it.
I don't know if it's still your favorite topic, but I still think you'll get a little excited, a little giddy about it.
Try me.
We're talking candy. I know it's got a lot of carbs, but
candy?
We're going to talk candy for a few
You mean
minutes.
like sugar, like chocolate?
Yeah.
I still, trust me, from where I'm sitting, I can see the candy jar on the top of my fridge where I try to keep it out of sight, out of mind, and it doesn't work.
Because we're about halfway through the month. So that means we're just about a little over 2 weeks away from the magical day of Halloween.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
And what are the candies kids want most this Halloween, in case you haven't shopped yet? Great Halloween candy survey of 2024.
I know who's been doing a lot of advertising on TV, so let's see if that lines up.
Now, the number 4 and 5, they tied, which I never have been a fan of, but they're at number 5. They check in at number 5, Sour Patch Kids and Skittles. Oh, I guess they tie at 5.
That's
I
see.
The two that tie.
I would not turn down Skittles. Sour Patch, no, thanks.
Yeah, I'm not into that.
That's not for me.
And Skittles, I'm not really into either.
It's like, well, that's why they're 4 or 5. They're way down the list for me. So many other better choices.
Now, number 4, it all depends on which one you're handing me.
Oh, wait, there's more than one. Okay.
M&Ms.
Oh, well, good point. I would take any of them, but I especially like that's a good question now, because I was going to say just the almond ones, or the peanut ones, whatever the nut ones are.
I think they do one of each. I think they do.
They might do both. You're right. But now they're doing the little caramel chocolate ones. Oh, those are good. And
then they also do a Reese's.
M&Ms. I'm open to any of them.
M&M.
What's
that?
They
do a Reese's M&M too.
They do?
Yeah.
My eyes are being opened today. This is amazing.
But if I'm going to eat an M&M,
right,
it's going to be the peanut M&M, or you can keep it.
Okay. All right.
That's me.
Fair enough.
Now, I remember growing up as a kid, this was one of my favorite candy bars.
Which is?
Kit Kat bar. Checks in at number 3.
They're doing a lot of TV advertising. So, and I know who, and I have another one in mind for who's doing a lot of advertising as well. And I'll bet you they're in the top list. So continue. But Kit Kat bars are awesome. Yes. I would never turn one of those down. Never.
Why don't you take a wild guess? We got 2 more left. What do you think here is in the top 2?
One of those has got to be Reese's Cups.
Reese's peanut butter cups in at number 1. Score!
They, for some reason, they continue to advertise year round. I mean, maybe it's just me, and maybe I just notice it because they're clever ads. They're cute and clever. But I see their ads on like football games, and I see them everywhere all the time.
That's kind of like M&M's though. M&M's pretty much
They kind of do. You're right. Now that
advertise
you
all
mention
year
it,
round.
they are on all the time. So anyway, so that leaves, so if Reese's are number one, so who did that leave for number two?
Want to take a guess?
Um, is it a traditional, what you would call candy bar kind of a thing, or is it like in bits and pieces?
You're in the right direction. A candy
bar.
bar.
One of the traditional ones, like a Milky Way bar?
Not Milky Way. No,
Okay.
They didn't make the top 5.
Didn't make the top bunch. I don't, because Kit Kat would have been one of my other ones, because they're Kit Kat and Reese's. I see those ads all the time.
There's this one has these people advertise quite a bit too.
Try me.
Snickers bar.
Oh, Snickers, of course.
Yeah.
Get a Snickers. Not going anywhere. Get a Snickers. I love those ads. It's like just stuck in traffic, stuck on the train, stuck. Yeah, get a Snickers bar. Not going anywhere. Get a Snickers bar.
So again, number 5 was a tie for Sour Patch Kids and Skittles. Number 4, M&M's. Number 3, Kit Kat. Number 2, Snickers. And at number 1, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. If you're out shopping, haven't done it yet for those Halloween trick-or-treaters, that's on the list. Those are the top 5 for 2024.
Right. Now, you lived on the farm, so I'm guessing not a lot of trick-or-treating for BJ Odom as a child.
Let me tell you something about living on a farm, Bill Stevens.
Yes.
At least in my neighborhood, a lot of the farmers in my neighborhood, even when I was a young child, was a little on the, well, maybe they weren't. Maybe they just were to me on the older side.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I did it a few times. My parents would actually take me into town.
Oh.
And oh my God, that was like, oh, I didn't know trick-or-treating could be like this. There's one house after another, after another, after another.
Right.
You don't have to go like 2 or 3 miles between houses.
Right.
But
yes,
when you live in the country, very few people trick or treat.
I believe it.
So, like you open the bag when you're in the town, in the city, and you get like this little itty bitty bag of like, Reese's peanut cups or whatever.
Or God forbid like somebody actually made like popcorn balls or something.
Oh. Apples. I always hated that. Squishy
apples.
Candy.
Come on. It's a freaking
that was
farm.
something you get in the country a lot.
I'll bet.
Was like apples.
Go out and pick them.
But you wouldn't get like the little itty bitty candy bars that you would get when you went in town.
Right.
You would get the big candy bar.
And
of course, they had a whole bag of those big candy bars. I go, well, take 2. Here, take 3 of them.
Nice.
And sometimes you'd go to the grandmas and the grandpas, the older people.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh. Oh, who is it? Oh, it's little BJ. He is so cute. Oh, he's so cute. You know what? I didn't get any candy this year. Oh, wait a minute. Let me. Oh, here's a $5 bill. I'll put it in your. You go. Yeah.
You didn't play on the sickly BJ thing, did you?
I didn't have to. The whole neighborhood knew sickly BJ.
I knew it.
But no, I think probably for most of the kids, that came, that's probably a lot of the older people. They gave like $5. But they'll probably get 10 kids at the most.
Right. Unreal.
So it would be the ones that really probably, the husband probably ate all the candy bars before, you got there, and they go, oh, yeah, I'd give him money.
Wow. Sweet. I'm thinking there may have been the occasional dollar or something like that, but now when I was growing up, when I was a kid in New Jersey and we lived in the upper middle class neighborhoods or whatever. Oh my God. You were out from sunset until 11 PM and you had like a bag, like a pillowcase.
Oh, that's like when I'd go to town. I didn't do that very many times, but I went to town a couple times, where there's house after house.
Oh yeah.
I was just like, my mouth would be open when I got home. Oh my gosh, look at all of this
Mhm.
candy. I have never had this much candy in my entire life.
I understand. Now I know you didn't do this because you weren't in like a group of kids or something. You were kind of on your own. But we used to go 4 or 5 kids would go together. Mom preferred that, of course. And then when you got back for the next week, that led to poker games. I'll raise you a Kit Kat bar if you want to bet. All right, how much is a Kit Kat? It's worth 1 Snickers bar, right? Sure. Okay. I'll bet 1 Snickers bar. You want to, yeah. And we would play poker with the candy.
Yeah, see, I know. I never did that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Of course, you know, in the country, I'd only have like 4 or 5 candy bars. So,
Right. That's what
you
I'm
know,
saying.
by the end of, you know, by
No,
2
we
or
had,
3 days later, it was all gone.
oh, my God.
But now when you went to town, though, whoo-hoo,
oh, we would eat like kings.
you'd have candy for a year.
That's it. That was us. That was it. Absolutely right. So anyway, kids, if you're listening, those days no longer exist. I'm sorry.
I think they do though. I
Mm,
think when you go like to a city like I remember being in Fort Myers, okay?
right,
I moved out of my neighborhood in Fort Myers is probably 4 or 5 years ago at the most.
right.
Probably 5 years ago, maybe was our last Halloween there. And I mean, I don't know, maybe we were known as a good neighborhood because we'd have cars, you know, just dropping kids off at one end of the
Right.
block and then
Right.
picking them up at the other end of the block.
Right.
And so,
When
I mean,
go ahead.
we go through like 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. I mean, we go through, my wife would always have, you know, like 4 or 5 bags of candy.
Right.
I mean, it was like I said, the little candy bars,
Right.
but she would have like, you know, I mean, and I'm not talking the little candy, I'm talking big bags of the little
Yeah, no, I
candy
get it.
bars.
Yeah, yeah.
And we go through like, you know, 4 or 5, maybe every once in a while we'd have to just, okay, we're going to turn off our light and close our door because
Yeah.
we ain't got no candy.
Right. Right. We in the neighborhood again where my ex is still at. I mean, it was a popular neighborhood. It wasn't but I do remember this very well that my neighbors across the street, I trust they're still there. He was an assistant principal, school principal in Lee County. She was a teacher. Both really nice people. They were super popular. So their house was going to get traffic and they were literally across the street from us. So what they would do, and they kind of trained us on this. So pretty much the whole street did it, is all the adults would get their lawn chairs and sit out towards the end of the driveway with the big basket full of treats and of course a couple of bottles of wine. And so you would sit and chat with your neighbors while the kids were coming by. And it was a neighborhood event. It was pretty good. I remember that well. So,
that's
anyway.
the way we had to do too, you know,
Yeah.
in our last neighborhood.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
We'd basically set out, you know, we would actually, because we had like a little screen porch or whatever, but it was like little, kind of like an entryway.
Mm-hmm.
We would set out there, you know, and so it wouldn't really interrupt the dogs. Wouldn't keep.
I'll have to see if I can find a picture because I know the pictures were taken because it was just the start of the iPhone era when I was in Austin, Texas, and I lived with a lady who Halloween was her holiday. She could care less about Christmas, care less about what New Year's. Halloween was it. And the house looked horrible. It looked like a haunted house. She would do makeup. She did her makeup. She did my makeup. And yours truly was the giant troll who stood behind her and growled at the kids while she handed out the candy at the door in her like witch black, you know, giant mask. It was pretty horrible. Yeah, it was funny and not really my style, but of course it was her thing. So of course we did it once or twice. So anyway, I'll have to see if there's pictures of that because I know there must be somewhere. So anyway.
Well, like I said, you know, I like we were saying, I was from the country,
right?
Not from town, not from city,
right?
Although I did go a couple times, you know, and I'd have a couple friends, you know, that I would go with. If I'd go to town, it just wouldn't be my parents would, you know, go with me, and they, you know, it was like, okay, some of my friends are going to go. Can I go meet them? And
Sure.
they would take me, you know, and they might even follow me. I don't know. But I was never the child, and maybe because I didn't trick or treat that much, you know, except for the country, and your parents drove you around because you weren't
Right.
of age, obviously, to drive.
Right.
Did you do like soaking of any windows or any
Not really.
Halloween pranks when you were a
Not really,
child?
because it was the neighborhood we were in was so busy. I mean, with kids and people coming and going and all that. It's like for Halloween night, no, it's like, get the candy, move on. next door. No, we didn't. I wasn't that guy. I was not that guy. High school football, which I did not play, but I was close to the team. I think I might have been involved in a couple of TPing of opponents' houses and stuff like that. But that's about it. That's about it. So
I never. That's one thing, I guess. I don't know why I missed out on all that. I didn't really do any pranks. I mean, I was always a jokester in class, but
right.
not really pranks.
Yeah, me neither. Me neither.
Gosh, I missed out on that part of life.
It's all right. You're still doing them now. You're fine.
I guess we're kind of going back to sports now because I wanted to mention this last week. And then, we had the storm coming and everything else. And we had so much to talk about. I never got to it. So actually, by the time people hear this podcast on Wednesday, this will have taken place.
Which is?
And I don't know if you're into this or if you're excited about it or not. It's going to be on Netflix, which I don't have, unfortunately. But the boxing match between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, scheduled for Friday, November 15th at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas.
Wow. Well, that won't be on. But
why did you say it's going to stream on Netflix?
It will stream on Netflix, but not this week. You said November.
Oh yeah, November. Oh, okay. Forget it. I just saw that November thinking
you got time. You got time.
We got time yet.
I would watch that. I wouldn't pay for it because I'm sure it'll be pay-per-view.
Even if it's on Netflix, it kind of is because you pay for Netflix.
Yeah. I would watch it. I won't pay for it. I mean, it's like I don't think I've ever done any pay-per-view event in my life. Yeah, no, I'm sure I have not. So I wouldn't start with that. But still, I would be interested to see if Mike Tyson still had any gas in the tank, as they say.
Yeah, because this is a young kid.
Huh?
This is a young kid. This is a young
Yes, I know.
guy.
He's a YouTuber. He's a YouTube influencer, kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of. Yeah, so he's kind of like been shooting his mouth off and talking. I mean, it's not that he's untrained. The kid's in great shape and he's got a boxing career. I think he's had other fights. I know he has. So, but this is obviously the biggest thing that he will ever do. So I don't know. I
don't know though. Maybe he'll get some more fights if he actually wins, which he could. Because what is Mike Tyson nowadays?
Oh my gosh. Alexa, how old is boxer Mike Tyson?
Mike Tyson is 58 years old.
58 years old.
Okay. He's almost 60 then.
Yeah. So he's not 60 not yet, but 58. Although if you've seen him, still, as they say, ripped. Still, yeah. I mean,
of course, I'm older, so that would be easy for him. But
what, you and him? Yeah,
it would be a 2-hit fight. Him hitting me and me hitting the ground.
That's right.
It would be a 2-hit fight.
That's it. Over before it begins.
Hell, I could fight Grandma and it'd be a 2-hit fight.
Yeah. So I'm curious and interested. So remind us, put that on your little tickler file there to remind us come November.
I'll leave that on the show prep sheet here.
Yes, I will be very curious the next day to see how it goes. Wow, at AT&T Stadium. So they're going to have like 80,000 people there to watch it, plus Netflix, plus whatever. So it's going to be a good payday for everybody.
I wonder if there's there's got to be other fights on the card. Because it was one of those 3-second deals. Yeah, that's what Mike Tyson used to do in his early career. Yeah. Boom. Okay, that's that fight. Boom.
Well, thanks for coming, everybody.
That one. Thanks a lot.
See you next time.
I think I've either been to homes with some pay-per-view things. Now I know I have actually, because my son, and now we're talking way back, like when he was still not a little boy, but and he's like 10, 12, 13 years old, 14.
Right.
and he was still living with Dad.
Right.
I know we did some pay-per-view wrestling events.
Oh, wow.
WrestleMania.
Oh, boy.
In fact, to this day, I cannot believe that my wife married me.
No, none of us can, BJ Odom. None of us can believe your wife married you, but tell us the reason that you think is a big one.
Well, number one, we was having a little get together. That's when I worked back at Wink FM.
Right.
And she was one of the sales secretaries.
Right.
And a bunch of us went out one night at the Brown Derby, for those that remember the Brown Derby in Fort Myers.
Wow.
And, a little drinking going on, a little,
right.
This and that going on.
Right.
And Michael Jackson, like, I don't know if it was Beat It or what, but one of the Michael Jackson songs came on. I says, I can dance just like Michael Jackson. You want to dance with me? And I took her out on the dance floor, and we did a little dance. And then, I kept wanting to go out with her. And then finally,
one thing led to another, as they say.
And here's her story. Well, everybody was telling me that I should go out with you. And so they said, he's such a nice young man. You should at least go out with him. So she ended up going out with me. But one of our first dates, I think our first date alone, I took her to, it was either New Year's Eve or somewhere around the Christmas time. I took her to a movie at the arcade theater back when the arcades still would do movies, and they also
downtown.
serve food. Yeah, and they serve food.
They serve food.
Yeah,
really?
they would like serve food. There was like some seats, and then there was some seats and tables.
I went to one or two movies arcade downtown. I remember. I do remember it. But anyway, go ahead.
So the third date or fourth date was, I had a son.
Right.
He's dating a man with a 4-year-old son.
That's wow.
So my son wanted to see Hulk Hogan at what is it? What is it in Tampa? Is that US? Yeah. University of South, whatever the
USF
college is there off of
USF. Yeah.
USF. He was going to be there. So I said, I'm taking, my son to see Hulk Hogan. Would you like to go with me? She had no interest in wrestling at all, but she said yes. That's when I knew I had one on the stringer, man. I was gonna reel this in. She's going with me and my son to wrestling. I gotta reel this one in.
That's true. That's true love. That is true love, when you will give up a weekend or whatever to go with your boyfriend and his 4-year-old to go see Hulk Hogan. That's amazing. Amazing. Good for her. So, more brownie points for your wife. Is just, we've already talked about this. We've talked about it many times, that when your wife leaves this earth, sainthood is immediate for her. No questions asked. No question. She's like a, first ballot Hall of Famer, as they say in sports, no question. So,
yep. And here, what was funny with Wink, and, that was the TV station, the radio station, all of that in Fort Myers.
Right.
They had a what is that word? Fraternization.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the no.
Really?
That was a no. So there was about 4 or 5 people in the building that knew that we were dating. And they knew it was maybe getting serious. So I got a job down in Naples at WRGI, G93.
Yep.
Back when it was top 40.
Yep.
Go into the office, give them my 2 weeks notice. I'm going to work. Well, actually, I didn't give a 2-week notice because they were going to move me from afternoons to overnights.
Right.
And I wasn't going to put up with that.
Right.
And so because they're funny, the station called me a few weeks before wanting to hire me. So I go, hey, you guys still want to hire me for afternoons? I'm there, baby.
I'm in.
So I went in and said, hey, if you're going to move me to overnight starting Monday, I have another job. I'm going to go to Naples and work at WRGI.
There you go.
So about 2 hours later, and we weren't even living together then. But Susan goes, let's move in. I'll move to Naples with you. She walks into the office and she goes, my boyfriend is moving to Naples and I'm going to move with him. They go, we didn't even know you were dating. Who's your boyfriend? And she tells them, and their
Ah.
mouths immediately just drop to the ground like, didn't see that one coming.
That's awesome. There's a little BJ Odom history for you there, folks. Good stuff. Good stuff. That's awesome. I was going to say, boy, see, you were setting the Wayback Machine. Of course, my mind always goes to food. You Brown Derby. Wow.
Yeah.
Is the building even still there?
No, I don't think so.
Well, because
No.
that was
I'm almost positive that building's gone. It was in pretty ragged shape when it closed too.
Yeah.
But it closed.
Well,
and
then
they tried to
it
open
was a
again.
Mexican restaurant for years and years and years. Wasn't it?
I don't know. Yeah, it closed. And then it opened
I'm thinking of the one down on
College.
not
College
College, on
Parkway.
Daniels. On
No.
College Parkway. Okay, it was on College.
Yeah, College Parkway. It was right after you turn off of 41 towards
Yeah.
Cape Coral, and then it was on the left. Yeah.
I lived right there. I know. I mean, yeah. That building's not, well, it's been 20 years since I've been there, so who knows? It's
Yeah, I
probably
don't think
long
it's
gone.
there anymore. I think it's they finally.
I
picked
was
it up.
afraid. Now, here, you want to set the Wayback Machine, see if you remember this one. I was a huge fan of Mike's Landing
Yeah, I remember that one.
at the airport at Page Field. That was, some awesome steaks were consumed there. I will tell you that. Yes. Awesome. I had it.
And-
That was good.
And maybe we'll close on this because I know it's
Okay.
getting close.
Yes,
As we're hitting the Wayback Machine,
we are.
one of my favorite restaurants out on Captiva, not Sanibel, but all the way out on Captiva Island,
I know which one you're going to say.
the Bubble Room
Of course.
was scheduled to open in November. I would really like to know if they still might be reopening in November. Maybe we can find
Wow.
that out and let you know next week.
I hadn't even thought of that. The hit that they took to reopen. Wow.
What storm was that? That was the one that took out Fort Myers Beach.
That was Ian.
Yeah, about
believe. That was Ian.
a little over a year ago, almost 2
A
years
little-
now, isn't it?
Wow. I haven't been back there, well, in a long time. I know you go down there to visit your son and you've been out to the beach and to see some things and all that. I hate to say it, but morbid curiosity. I would like to see what all of that looks like. And I know it's not going to be pretty. Well, it's not going to be like I remembered it. Let's put it that way.
Fort Myers
So-
Beach is definitely
Right.
not going to be like you remembered.
I get it. It's going
There'll
to
be a lot of buildings you remember, and they are not there.
They are not there. There would be I know, scary, but not scary. Sad, but true. Sad, but true. So we'll see what happens. Again, to everybody out there who's been affected by storms lately, gosh, we're praying for you. Blessings to you. We hope that you made it through okay personally, even if your stuff didn't do so well. But hang in there. We love you. So that's all good. Amazing. Amazing. How's your heart?
I think I made it all the way through without any AFib. Because I can feel it. I mean, I don't know what it does, but it's like, it's hearing Michael Jackson and it wants to dance whenever I'm in AFib. And
I mean, because I obviously I don't have any experience with that, but I do have a little experience, like when I'll be playing pickleball and have to run a little bit, I'll stop for a moment. You can feel things going thump, thump, thump a little bit, which to me, I think that's good for me. I want to get the heart rate up. For you, maybe not so much, huh?
Well, it's because it's pumping at a weird rate. It's like almost doing a double beat. So it's not really getting the blood through the chambers correctly. Because it's like, da-doom, da-doom, da-doom. So you're getting a double heartbeat, and it kind of makes it's a good time to have a stroke. But I have this little thing I will advertise called a Walkman, which has been inserted into my heart. It's
not like an old Sony Walkman with a cassette player?
No, the Watchman is like a little
Oh,
screen.
Watchman. I thought you said Walkman.
No, Watchman. And it's like a little screen or something. And if you do, because sometimes it'll make blood clots because it's beating so weird that it's getting a chance to clot before it moves into the next chamber. Because I don't know, because it's beating so weird. And so this thing is supposed to catch the little blood clot so you don't have a stroke.
Isn't that interesting that you had, you had a heart transplant, so it's a new heart. It's not like the hardware is bad. The hardware is obviously new and improved, and yet you are still having this same issue. So obviously, the old computer tech support guy that I am can know that, therefore, it's not the heart that is the problem. There's something else going on with the wiring.
It's the wiring, yeah. That's why I always call it, because this Friday I have to go to Tampa to see what I call the heart electrician.
The heart electrician, which is exactly right. Basically that's what it is, because somewhere some signals are getting crossed that is having your brand new, it's not a brand new heart, having your replacement
21-year-old heart now.
21-year-old heart. Well, it's your heart is, how much younger is your heart than you? Did we ever do that math?
I don't know if we ever did the math. I think I was 50 and I think they were in their 20s. So
right. So your heart is probably 25 years younger than you are.
Yeah.
But regardless, something going on in there that the electrical system is misfiring somewhere.
And they've done some procedures too. And, like we're at the end of our time.
Right.
But where they, kind of burn it or do something in there.
Wow.
And I don't know. It's above my pay raise, but I've done a couple, and they're called, if you want to look it up, folks at home, an ablation. I've had 2 ablations.
Wow.
And they're talking about maybe doing now a 3rd because it's all out of whack again.
This is so far above my pay grade, your pay grade. I don't even know. I don't know enough to be impressed, but I am.
I know.
I am. So, all right, folks, you're right. Probably another story for another day. We'll pick this up later on, but anyway, the hour has flown by, as it always has. Lots to talk about this week. So go out there, make it a great week. And I don't know, just hang in there. Just keep your fingers crossed, storm-wise or whatever. Just do what you need to do. We will talk to you again next week, but until then, it's just up to BJ Odom to say,
see ya.